and ask for a motion to go into executive session. Moved by Doug, seconded by Nikki. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to make an announcement that for the public forum and pursuant of Governor Cuomo's executive order number 202.1, there will be no in-person attendance at any regular or special meetings of Rush-Henrietta Board of Education until further notice. To address any items regarding the public forum that are not on the agenda or any items that are on the agenda, please submit the statements or questions to Karen Flanagan. That's Karen Flanagan at kflanagan@rhnet.org. Now we can go into our items of a routine matter. I'd like a motion to accept items consisting of a routine matter, items A through H, moved by May, seconded by Doug. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Next is the personnel actions. I will accept a motion to approve personnel actions.
So moved.
Moved by Diane, seconded by Nikki. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Item 8, memorandums of agreement. This is pertaining to the RHA facilities, the mechanics, and the closure of school. All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry, moved by Diane, seconded by James. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, next is item B. That is a motion to approve the MOA with the coalitions. Moved by Nikki, seconded by Anne Marie. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Next is number 9, the collective bargaining agreements. Motion to approve the proposed collective bargaining agreements with RHA facilities and mechanics.
So moved.
Moved by Diane, seconded by Nikki. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Motion carried. Next, we have our workshop, our budget workshop. Andy?
Yep. Just before I turn it over to Andy, this is really an opportunity for you to comment or ask questions related to the budget before you're asked to adopt. Some things to highlight, as we discussed last week after we received our state aid runs and had a better sense of what our revenue was going to look like based on most recent figures. Our situation has changed drastically due to the pandemic. And as you know, we suddenly found ourselves in a position where we had to bridge a $1.6 million gap because of lost revenue. As discussed last week, we were able to make budgetary reductions without layoffs, and we still committed to a lower tax rate at 1.5%. Our allowable tax cap is still 3.78. We plan to stay under the cap. However, it should be noted that our budget to budget increase due to those reductions is going to be lower at about 2.4%. And we agreed that given the situation, that we're going to postpone our proposal for work at the Good Shepherd site and the artificial turf field. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Andy to talk a little bit more in detail about what the budget's going to look like, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions.
All right, thanks, Bo. As Bo had summarized so nicely, we were in pretty good budget shape until this pandemic hit. So when we got our state aid runs, we did receive a $1.1 million pandemic adjustment, negative adjustment. In addition, when we looked at our sales tax, we are assessing or forecasting that'll be reduced $500,000 rather than growing. So that left us with a $1.6 million gap. And actually with our frozen foundation aid, rather than a little bit of growth, it ended up being about 1.8 million, but we determined to increase our appropriated fund balance by a couple $100,000, which left us with a $1.6 million gap. We're with school closed this year, we're going to have some extra funds that we can carry over to next year to increase that appropriated fund balance. The property tax, the levy that increase, a lot of that growth is coming from real growth. So it's the remainder of the VA hospital. Last year, a part of that valuation came on the rolls. This year, the remainder of it will, as well as the start of the big RG&E substation project that adds about $56 million to the roll. And that's how we're able to deliver a 1.5% tax rate increase. It doesn't affect the levy increase is driven by new growth, new property. So we're able to keep our tax rate at 1.5%. So as Bo mentioned, our reduced revenue forecast because of the state aid and sales tax still left us with a 2.5% budget to budget increase, but we had to take $1.6 million of spending out. Plus we eliminated $200,000 of increases that we had put into the budget for some program enhancements. So the big thing was through not backfilling some retirements and attrition, we've reduced 13 positions under the instructional salaries. That includes administrators as well, and 6 positions in the non-instructional salaries. And we also took a number of non-personnel reductions, which got us the $1.6 million decrease. So all in all, that leaves us with a budget increase of 2.45%. Any questions on either the revenue or the expenditure side? All right. I guess there should be a motion to accept those.
Andy, I think everybody's muted.
Do you want me just to get into the property tax report card next then, and then you can do them all together?
No, because they're all separate, Angie, on the agenda.
They're all separate. I'm sorry. I had to find the button to unmute myself. I'm sorry. Can I get a motion to change the adoption of the proposal revenue and expenditures? Moved by Anne Marie, seconded by Nikki. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Andy.
All right, the next item is the property tax report card. This is a state required document that we need to submit online. And basically, this is how the media, when it comes to the budget vote time, the media, where they get their information. So it just summarizes a lot of the information that we just talked about. It shows the budget increase, it shows the levy increase, and also demonstrates that we remain under the tax cap, as well as they added a couple of years ago our level of reserves and what we plan to use them for next year. So that is a required document by the state. And then the other part of it is the budget notice, which we're required to put in our budget newsletter, which is similar to the property tax report card, but a little bit different. And the only thing that's not final there are the dates for the vote. Right now it's called draft because we put in a tentative date of June 9th, but we really don't know when that'll be. The governor has not yet set a time or a date for the vote other than after June 1st. So any questions on these two documents?
Okay, can I get a motion pertaining to the acceptance of the property tax cap report card?
So moved.
Moved by Diane, seconded by May. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, next, may I have a motion pertaining to the acceptance of the budget notice? Moved by James, seconded by Doug. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Next, we have our community reform, our community referendum propositions. Can I have a motion for adopting the propositions for the community referendum? Moved by Diane, seconded by Nikki. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Next, we have our workshop of the community. Our budget newsletter. Did everyone take a look at that?
Jennifer,
If
let's
I,
start with the communication plan.
I'm sorry, what, Karen?
The first one was the communication plan.
yeah, and I'm just going to speak to this in general terms, Jennifer, before you walk everybody through it. The communication plan in many ways is similar to what we've done in recent years, but given our situation, we typically would go out and you would go out and present to certain groups, which we're not going to be able to do this year. Same thing with handing out hard copies. That's just not going to be doable. So we'll be relying on electronic communication. We'll have a draft of the newsletter for you soon. When you, as I said, when you review the communication plan, it looks very similar to what it has looked like in the past. And as Andy said, there are still some question marks related to the budget vote and the election for Board of Education seats. All we really know is that it's going to be after June 1st, and June 9th has been talked about as potentially a tentative date, although nothing has been firmly decided on that.
Okay, will we also be submitting them to the principals to put on the PTO websites?
We certainly can do that.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll send the principals an electronic copy of all of the budget documents. And typically they also get a hard copy to post in their offices, but they'll have an electronic copy and they can share that, as well as we'll put it on our website as well. Travis creates a budget section on the website. We'll have the documents there as well. So as Bo mentioned, a lot of what we're going to do this year will be electronic versus even going out to the different town facilities such as town halls and libraries, etc. We're not going to do that this year for obvious reasons. But we will make everything available electronically and publicize it that way.
okay. Anyone have any questions?
Nope.
All right. That brings us to item 13, the workshop for Monroe One BOCES. Did everyone take a look at the resumes submitted? All right, let's, can I have a motion pertaining to the approval of Lisa Latin for the position of Penfield? Moved by Nikki, seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that is approved. Next, we have 13B, which is the approval of Christine Deturek for the board for Monroe BOCES. Any questions? Uh, moved by Anne Marie, seconded by May. Any questions? Okay, that is approved. And finally, we have the budget for Monroe. I'm sorry, no. Item C is Kim McCluskey. I'm pronouncing that wrong, forgive me. Can I have a motion to accept her position? Moved by Diane, seconded by Anne Marie. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item D. There's a motion, I'm looking for a motion for approval of the resolution for the Monroe 1 BOCES administrative budget. Moved by Nikki, seconded by James. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is carried. Next, we have the superintendent's report.
Okay, there was one item that was submitted as a written report. That's the extra activities report. Are there any questions on that document?
No.
No.
Okay. Then just some updates and reminders outside of recent budget developments. Regents exams have been suspended this year due to the pandemic. We're in the process of rolling out our extended learning plan. We call it 2.0 this week. This is a long-term learning plan that will focus on making sure that consistent structures for learning are in place for the duration of the closure. Pat and Dina did a lot of really good work with the principals and the Teachers Association on this. A lot of thought, effort, and energy went into it. And so an e-news will be going out to parents by tomorrow, letting them know about the rollout and just some reminders about virtual learning etiquette and things of that nature that sometimes students forget when they're learning online from home. APPR may be suspended this year. We're awaiting more detail on that, so more information to follow. We are in the process of implementing the new masking recommendations for all those who are working in the district at this time, certainly food service, cleaners, folks like that, and even those of us who are here providing administrative coverage or working in our offices. You know, if I'm sitting alone in my office, I don't wear the mask, but if I, go downstairs to talk with Andy about something, we both put our masks on. So we are working at this point to implement those recommendations. That's really the most recent update from the last time we talked. Are there any questions or comments at this point?
I think the little buzz I'm hearing is how late into the year before a decision about graduation, if there is a ceremony or not.
Yeah, that's I'm getting a bit of that as well, Diane. People wondering what's going to happen. It really, will take our direction from the state education department and also from the Department of Health. I think all of us are hoping that we can come back before the end of the year, but there's a possibility that won't be possible. And even if we are back before the end of the year, there's no guarantee that the Department of Health would clear us to have mass gatherings. So as soon as we're in a position where that's been determined, where we know or have a better sense of exactly how long the closure is going to be, or if we are able to host graduation ceremonies, we'll be sure to communicate that. But I know that I think one of the things that's most difficult for people in this whole situation is dealing with the uncertainty of all of it.
Right.
So
And
I'm certainly sympathetic to that.
I just wanted to ask the question so that the public would understand that this is what we are looking at and how we have to handle it.
Right.
We're not unsympathetic, but we may not be able to. So thank you.
Hey, Bo, are we providing masks for employees who are coming in direct contact with other employees or the public? Are we providing the masks for them if we are asking them to wear them?
I'm going to ask Andy to speak to that. We have provided some masks, I know, to food service. I can see with some of our cleaners, they wear masks that they're not the masks that we gave out. They look to be special ordered or possibly even made. And I noticed that even with some of the clerical folks in the office, but Andy could probably speak to that better than I can.
You're right. We do have a very limited supply of masks, but everybody who needs one, we have them available for them. Some folks prefer to make their own and bring them in, but people do have to reuse their masks. So, for example, the food service workers will have to reuse their masks for up to a week. We were just able to find a supply of 300 masks today. It's going to cost us $1,000 for 300 masks, so we're bringing them in. But right now, we do have masks available for everybody. So I checked with all my operations folks this morning, and everybody does have masks. We don't have a large supply, so we don't have a lot of extra, but we continue to look for more.
I might suggest, because of the nature of the work that I'm doing, our agency has reached out to a variety of different Facebook groups who are making masks, and they are making masks that allow you to put filters in. So maybe that's something we could look into. You know, we've had quite a few of those come in because we have to provide now for all of our essential workers. And so we needed over 700 masks, and that's what we did. We went out to a variety of different Facebook groups to reach out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And actually, we had a couple of people with the food services volunteer. And so they were able to make masks for not only all of our food service workers, but for also a lot of the volunteers who are taking and delivering the food to our families who can't get out.
Great.
Any more questions? Okay. Board member reports. Obviously, we weren't able to do any meetings this month, so we'll keep them on just for reference. And I believe that brings us to the close of the meeting. May?
You're muted.
Of course.
May.
Next meeting is April 28th.
Okay. Next meeting, April 28th. I guess that's it. It was nice seeing everybody. I guess this is our new norm for a while. Motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Nikki, seconded by Doug. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.